diğer bir konuğumuz galiba hazır. Yine çok kıymetli bir konuğumuz var. Cryptic Lab CEO'su Bril Wang bizimle birlikte The New Era of Identity Legal Deed konuşmasını yapmak için alkışlarınızla sahneye alıyorum kendisini.
Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Like Dr. Yu, I would just go ahead and first make an introduction of myself, so you guys, know who I am. So I'm currently the advisor at the Stanford Distributed Trust Initiative, and also advisor at HEC Paris, the #1 business school in France. And also the Nova Blockchain Club, the #1 Portuguese business school. We also have a short introduction over here, as well as a private advisor of a lot of Silicon Valley startups. So I arrived in the Bay Area, in San Francisco Bay Area, back in 2010. And then start to establish some business there, also venture investment in more than a dozen startups. And I also brought you guys are actually expecting CZ, but you guys also hear about the bad news as of this Thursday. There's a bridge, Binance bridge was basically broken into, and they lose around $600 million. But the action was quick, right? They stopped the operation of the validators, and then actually right now only about 85 million is accessible. So about 80% of the funds are saved. I brought CZ to Republic of Palau back in June to actually support their digital residency program. And also in a variety of situations that I met with Tim Cook, the CEO of Apple, and also our president at Stanford. He's currently the chairman at Google, which is also the called Alphabet corporation. And then in the middle is the co-founder of LinkedIn, Eric Lee, and also co-founder of Twitter, co-founder of WhatsApp, and co-founder of Instagram. What I would like to actually talk about today is about the evolution of identity. So let's go to the next page. So whoever is controlling the PowerPoint, can you go to the next page? Anyway, the project that I'm working on major for right now is called the root name system. So it's the underlying technology for the digital residency program of a small country called Republic of Palau. Cryptic Labs currently work with a country to issue ID card. We call that a digital identity. Oh, now we have we can see the change of the background. So RNS stands for root name system, and then today I will just go ahead and introduce the new area of identity, which is a legal DID, which stands for digital ID or decentralized ID. So next page. Can we go to next page, please? So if we can see the identities through history, right? We have the first record of the identity document back in 209 BC. And then you can see the first passport was actually issued in 1414. And the first photo ID appears in the 18th century. And until, sorry. And until recently, you can see the digital record of the identity, was basically issued in the 1980s. in Germany, Singapore, and Czech Republic. So the new area of identity we identify is called the RNS ID NFT, which is a sovereignty-backed Web3 identity, allows the self-control of personal identity back to the user, right? So currently, the identity is basically issued by the government, and then like wherever you go, your identity information, you check in at hotels, and your identity is basically recorded there, right? You don't have a privacy, you don't have control of your own information, and then your data is basically being monetized by like large corporations, Google, Facebook, and you don't have a share of that. So this is RS in media, so about CZ from Binance support, and also the Silicon Valley's giant called Tim Draper. He's also the early investor of Elon Musk. Yeah, and also the like Baidu, the China's Google, right? So he became the Republic Palau's first digital resident. And then this is also like a issuance of the ID NFT, which is in a few weeks. So what is like a soul-bound token, right? So you guys may heard about the idea of NFT, but this idea is basically introduced by Ethereum founder Vitalik back in January of this year. So currently, like the tokens, right, in your wallet, they're transferable. Say, for example, you have 1 BTC, right? You can transfer that to me, right? And then next day, I have that 1 BTC. Or if you have a Bored Ape, right? Next day, I can spend money and purchase that. But what I cannot purchase is your certificate. For example, if you graduate from Stanford University, I cannot buy that from you, right? That is affiliated to you personally. That is called the soul-bound token. So what's a soul affiliated is a bunch of like things that is in the physical world, right? Like where you graduated, your employment history, and your social status, like who you know, and also about like your certifications of like you can have a coding like certificate, or if you know about like certain technology. So that's affiliated to yourself, right? Your credit report, your lending history, things related to those. So what the RS ID allows is for, it's the world's first soul-bound system, which is, self-certified, it's not transferable. It also allows you to recover your identity. Say right now, if you lose your ID card, we can send that to a 0x address and then reissue you that ID to yourself, right? So that is something that you can recover. It's not like something you lose, right? Like the Binance loss, right? Say 600 million. If they don't stop the chain, then there's no way you can recover those funds back, right? But for the soul-bound token, it's affiliated to you personally. If you lose, there's a way to recover it. So if you see this, the RNS on-chain legal ID, which is basically offers you, in the traditional world, a plastic ID, right, on the left side, which you can use for a variety of purposes, for hotel check-ins, for opening bank accounts. There's like, it's basically a headache right now for Russians, right, to open bank accounts. But you can basically have a second identity. And with that second identity, you can do KYC, like open exchange accounts, stuff like that. And you can also set up a Palau cooperation, right? Which is like a BVI or Cayman that gives you like the benefits of 0% tax. A lot of residents in Europe, right? Like in France, you have to pay like 30% tax, right? But if you become like a digital resident of Palau and choose your tax status in Palau, you pay 4%, right? So the one on the right side is the ID NFT I talked about earlier that you can use for like a variety of soul-bound applications. So what is amazing, right, about this RNSID, we call is the minimal disclosure, right, for constrained use. So I will give you an example, right? So you can create a sub-ID, like your employment ID, right? With your working experience, with where you graduated, with recommendation letters, but not with if you're a male or a female. Not how old are you, right? Not your race, not if you're Asian or Turkish or American. So that eliminates discrimination. They will make their decision on whether to hire you only because of your merit, not because your sex, not because of your race or your age. So that is what we define as a minimal disclosure for constrained use, right? They only get certain information which you allow them to get, right? If you, like a very simple example, right? If you want to enter a bar, they only need to verify if you're 21 years old, older than 21 years old, right? But what they do right now, they check your ID, and you have to let them know if you're 35 years old or if you are 43 years old. That is not necessary, right? They only need to know if you're over 21. And you can create other sorts of IDs, like a social ID, your Instagram account, your Twitter account, your Telegram account, or your finance ID, right? Your lending history, your credit report, your employment history, but not your age or anything that's not relevant. And you can also create like a game, game ID about the past game you played in the past, right? Your levels, and also finally the season ID, right? Which is your name and the things that you need to use for verification purposes. So the RNSID NFT is have a variety of functionalities that allows you to do a lot of things that without disclosing certain information that's related to employment, lending, insurance. So what we call the layer 3, this is maybe a little bit complicated, but it basically allows you to do zero knowledge proof. So what is zero knowledge proof is that the other party, they don't necessarily know, you know certain information, but they're able to verify that, right? Say, for example, if I want to demonstrate to you I know the password of a door, I don't need to tell you the password. I can just go there and type in the password, and then the door opens, right? So I have the password, but I do not need to disclose that information to you, right? That's very important for individual and government relationships. So it also allows you to control the right of your identity, which is credentials, about credit scores, about proof of presence, for the use case in exchanges, banks, and merchants. So this, when you see this layer 3 implementations, you can choose to disclose, right? Certain informations you can turn on, whatever information you want the different institutions to be able to access. So in terms of the industry impact, you can see the global lending they're all in the $1 trillion business, $1 trillion market size, right? For insurance, for employment, for global lending. So we can see the identity, self-control of identity industry impact is enormous. So this is how it will implement a soul-bound system about the identity holder for verifier, the issuer, and the registry, which allows you to send and then report information back and forth without having to disclose essential information. So yeah, the future full, a roadmap of ID NFT allows you to do a lot of, verification purposes. Certain institutions want you to have a proof of address. So you can have that right now in Palau. You can also have a virtual phone number right? For like 2FA verifications. And what is better is that you can do like for DAO applications, right? Which is to to make sure that one person have one vote. And this is how you can see for the phone number applications, verifications. So this is showing like how the RNSID as the Web3 identity stack, the root of the whole identity system. And from the RS app, you can manage your identity, your wallet, the marketplace, and a variety of other use cases like marketplace, verifications, also chat. Yeah, so this is how you can see the ID card also have an NFC chip, and that is basically a cold wallet solution with the same security level as Ledger, but it's a lot more convenient to use. We also have a booth outside in the second hall, and our staff is available to talk more about this innovative idea if you guys are interested. I appreciate your time. Thank you.
Thanks, Mr. Wang.